All right, let's dive into a modern political mystery, one that comes from a really thought-provoking essay by Thomas B. Idzall. We're talking about a puzzle, really, a whole generation that seems to have every reason to fight, but for some reason, they're just not on the front lines.
And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. The political climate is just begging for protest. You've got a president with some of the lowest youth approval ratings in history and a whole list of issues, from the economy to civil liberties, just waiting to be challenged. The one thing that seems to be missing, any kind of big youth movement.
Now this is where it gets really fascinating. Look at the numbers. A Yale youth poll found a staggering 72% disapproval rating among young people aged 23 to 29. You'd expect them to be out in the streets, right? But they're not. A sociologist named Dana Fisher actually tracked the demographics at major demonstrations, and she found that the median age was 48. 48! It's a huge disconnect.
So what on earth is going on? To figure this out, we're going to have to play detective for a little bit. We'll follow the clues laid out by the sociologists, psychologists, and researchers that Idzall talked to for his piece. Okay, our first clue takes us back in time. And it suggests this isn't something that just happened overnight. No, this is the result of a long, slow cultural shift that has basically poisoned the soil for liberal youth activism.
And here's how that played out. Sociologist Richard Brongard argues that ever since the 1960s, there's been this systematic campaign to frame liberalism and any kind of collective action as the problem. And what took its place? A culture that celebrates big business and raw power. Brongard has this stark phrase for it. He calls it a crumbling moral wasteland. That is just not a place where protest movements can easily grow.
But, a hostile culture is only one piece of the puzzle. Our next clue suggests the problem might not be just about the world out there. It might actually be about the world inside our own heads, a deep, fundamental change in how young minds are being wired.
That is a powerful and, frankly, pretty scary statement from social psychologist Jonathan Haidt. He was one of the first people to really raise the alarm about the mental health crisis tied to social media. But now he's saying that was just the beginning. The real deeper problem is what he calls a cognitive catastrophe, and it's being driven by the explosion of short-form video.
So what does that mean, a cognitive catastrophe? Well, according to Haidt, it's all about the disruption of our executive function. Now, the best way to think about this is like the CEO of your brain. It's the part that lets you pay attention, make plans, and, this is the really important part, persist when things get difficult. It is the engine that drives any kind of meaningful action.
And here's how that engine gets broken. It starts with teens spending hours, literally hours, every single day just swiping through an endless feed of short videos. That constant switching weakens the brain's ability to focus. And when you can't focus, it becomes a lot harder to persist, to do anything that requires deep thought or sustained effort. And what's one of the first things to go? Complex, real-world action, like political activism. And let's be clear, this isn't about kids being lazy. It's a neurological rewiring.
And if you thought that was bad, well, our final clue shows how this is all speeding up. If social media was the kindling, recent studies suggest that AI is the accelerant. It's pouring fuel on the fire and making this cognitive erosion happen even faster.
Just look at this. Research from Corvinus University is pretty stunning. They found that students who just used AI without any guardrails didn't just learn less. Their ability to acquire new knowledge dropped by a massive 20 to 40%. They were basically handing over control of their own learning to a tool. And it gets worse. Another recent study found that AI assistance directly makes us less persistent. I mean, after just 10 minutes of using an AI helper, people were way more likely to give up on problems, and they actually got worse at solving them on their own afterward. The very act of asking for an easy answer makes us less capable of finding our own. The author Derek Thompson has the perfect name for this state. He calls it zombie flow. It's not that good kind of flow state where you feel focused and accomplished. No, this is a passive, numbing kind of consumption. It's a disembodied timelessness, where the algorithms just keep us floating down what he calls the lazy river of the scroll. So when we put all these clues together, the hostile culture, the rewiring of our brains, the AI accelerant, we arrive at a really disturbing conclusion. This mystery of the missing protesters, it isn't the real problem. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of a much bigger sickness that's threatening democracy itself.
As Idzall puts it, this is the canary in the coal mine. When a whole population starts to lose its ability to persist, to be curious, to think deeply, people become more passive, more indifferent.
apathy spreads. And when people start to believe that taking action is pointless, well, that makes it a whole lot easier for authoritarian leaders to chip away at democratic norms without anyone putting up a fight.
And that leaves us with this final, critical question. All these tools that give us instant answers and endless entertainment, they might be costing us something huge, something we can't see. Are we trading our ability to think deeply, to persist, to fight for what we believe in, all for the simple, numbing convenience of the scroll? The evidence suggests it's a trade we really need to start thinking about, and fast.